Well, that's not right. Let's try this again. There we go.
Keith Courage on the TurboGrafx 16 is an action platformer game by Hudson Soft that was released in 1989. You, as the player, control the game's namesake, Keith Courage, whose planet has been invaded by creatures of another planet that have burrowed deep within the Earth's surface. These creatures are from the planet Bad, beastly alien dudes. Our beloved foe, Keith, is a member of NICE, Nations of International Citizens for Earth. Okay. Obviously, in an action platformer, your goal is to defeat the beastly alien dudes and bring peace to the world. This game was the initial pack-in game for the TurboGrafx 16 upon its release in North America. Why they chose this game of all things is absolutely beyond me. They could have chosen much better games such as Ninja Spirit, Newtonia, or Blazing Lasers. There are two different segments of the game. The overworld segments where you play as Keith in an attempt to get as many power-ups as you can, or the second segment, which is where you go to the underworld. Here in the underworld you fight the beastly alien dudes. The whole point of the game is pretty much to collect money and items with Keith to better your Nova suit before the end of the level. To be completely honest, the portions of the game where you play as Keith are very, very plain and simple. Only when you reach the end of a level do things get really good. However, you do get beamed up by the very seemingly homosexual Starship Enterprise and transform into the Nova suit, which looks very similar to a Gundam. I like to think I'm pretty decent at games like this, but I am absolutely terrible at this game. Whether it's the sometimes sloppy controls or endless enemies that come after you while in the Nova suit, or the platforms that trick you into thinking it's safe to jump, I just find myself getting frustrated. It's a shame that this is what you got back in 1990 when purchasing the TurboGrafx 16. I can imagine there being some really unhappy buyers at the time. During the game, you'll notice little houses that you walk by. Upon entering these houses, you'll find characters that try to help you, whether it be magic or a new sword or healing. Your best bet is to use these to your advantage. However, it's really hard to do so because collecting money is probably the hardest thing in this game. How do you get money, you ask? Well, I wish I could tell you the same thing because I attack enemies over and over and I'm not getting any money, or enough money rather. Whenever I see these green little blobby looking dudes, I hit them and I keep getting a little bit of coins, but not many. Basically, it's just really hard to get money in this game, which is hard to get better power-ups and better swords and even heal yourself, which is ridiculously expensive. You'd think it would be free. However, it does add a nice little RPG-like element to the game, if you will. I'd also like to mention the game's music, or lack thereof. I know the TurboGrafx is capable of pumping out some good tunes, but the stuff you hear in this game is just lackluster. All in all, Keith Courage is a half-bad, half-decent game. The developers should have gotten rid of the segments where you run around slowly as Keith in favor of a more awesome and better-built action game with the Nova suit. And the plot is garbage too. There's really no wonder why this is a less than $10 game. Regardless of its shortcomings, I still think it's a pretty cool game to have in your collection.
There you have it. Keith Courage in Alpha Zones for the TurboGrafx 16. It's pretty much just a garbage game. I wouldn't even recommend it to my cat here. Well, he couldn't play games anyway because he doesn't have thumbs, which may or may not be a good thing in this case. He doesn't even care about this game. He just would rather go off and sit in the corner and clean himself. Actually, I should probably just clean myself now because it's just a dirty game. You know the one thing I don't like about this controller? The cord's too short. Just like my